Hello! Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Ashleigh here, like and subscribe. So this video has consistently done well for me and I haven't watched it back since it's really gained some traction. So this is me reacting to a video I posted 9 months ago, which is 7 things I wish I knew before moving to Australia from America. Let's do this.
These are things that I wish
oh my
I was
god.
American.
Why do I look so sweaty? I'm so sorry. Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. Okay.
Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel.
Welcome.
Ashleigh here. The first question, are there things you found within your research or prior knowledge to the country that you found to be different than expected?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I do think that moving internationally especially, you could do so much research and still pick up on things and just be like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that. Or 2 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, pick up on things and be like, oh wow, that's different. I just feel like the learning never stops. And it's honestly really exciting to be living in Australia almost 2 years now, and I'm still getting excited over ketchup. Like, or I don't know, something stupid. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's different, that's so cool. Watch this video for more context on that. I did a video on American things. I didn't realize they're so American until moving to Australia. So go check that out if you are interested to learn a bit more about that. But oh my goodness, the learning never stops. And I just, yeah, I find it really exciting more than anything. But I definitely do recommend, obviously, do as much research as you can, but also leave a lot of room for yourself to learn and be open if things aren't exactly what you thought they would be. I mean, it's good, just life advice in general, I guess. I should take my advice more often.
That's a great question. Something that I didn't expect is how well people get paid in Australia in relation to what I was used to in the States. When I got my first paycheck here, working just a casual part-time job, my mouth was on the floor. I was like, I get paid this much an hour, where in the US,
still blows my mind, like in the best way possible. Like, I am so grateful and so happy that people do overall get paid more on average than what I'm used to an hour, like a minimum wage wise. Obviously I can only speak on my experience, but blows my mind, and it just makes me feel so much less anxious about money and deep breaths, deep breaths.
I definitely, since moving here, have so much less anxiety around finances than I did in the US. And I'm also going to link the culture shocks video that I did with my friend Caitlin. I think we addressed a lot of stuff in that same area as well.
Oh,
and yeah, I feel like in your experience, you know, if there's a way to reserve your US phone number while living abroad. Really, the plain answer is, to my knowledge, again, all this is my experience,
yeah, all of the disclaimers. Yeah, I learned a lot from this video actually going through the comments, because I just think it's like such a great way for me to learn. And I love when people react to my content or comment on my content in a very educational way, especially when I'm asking for someone else's opinion or just knowledge on a topic that I'm not an expert in. And so when people like comment very nicely and just very educationally, I'm like, I appreciate you, because I'm learning so much from this too.
No way to reserve it unless you're still paying your bill in the US.
I was wrong. I did get a lot of comments saying that there is a way to. So if you are moving internationally, there is a way that you can save your old number somehow.
Do you have any tips or tricks for adjusting to the metric system?
I'm getting better at adjusting to the metric system, guys. Like, now when I think of weather, I'm like, oh, okay, it's like 11 degrees today. Okay, I'll bring an extra sweater. Might get hot later when it gets to like 17 around lunch. Like, I'm getting, especially with weather, I'm getting so much better, and I'm like so proud of myself because the metric system, and very much not growing up in the metric system in the US.
No. My best advice is you just get used to it.
Which is still true, and just living through it is what helped me the most.
I found what was really helpful is, say, every morning when I Google the weather, you can choose, at least with the first result that comes up on Google, you can choose Fahrenheit or Celsius. and I've kind of just gotten used to, like, I'm like, okay, let me check it in Celsius and then compare it to what it would be in Fahrenheit to just at least kind of get estimations. 3, have you pursued getting your own car / driving in Australia? Do you have any tips?
I still don't have a car, and I still don't feel like I need one. My situation's a bit different now because the people that I live with both have cars and my partner has a car, so if I like desperately needed anything, I have access to a car. But even last year when I made this video, or like really early this year, I should say, when I made this video, it was a similar situation. I had friends that had cars, but I didn't feel like I needed one, especially since where I live and where I work is within walking distance of each other. If not, I can take the bus. Like, it's very easy for me to get to where I need to go. And I feel like if you, again, are in more rural areas, then yes, that would be very different.
And I have driven in Australia. And again, it's like, oh, I feel really bad saying this, but it's just something you get used to driving.
I still agree. I haven't driven in Australia much in the last however many months, 6 months. And I feel like the next time I drive on the left side of the road, I'm probably going to be a bit more anxious than normal, but then you just kind of get used to it. You figure out which side's the windshield wipers, which side's the indicator, keep left, deal with your traffic circles, and you move on.
4, do you have any must-visit spots in the mainland or things to do around the country? I haven't explored the mainland too much.
Yeah, still on my list to get to a lot more spots on the mainland. To kind of gear this more towards Tassie, I recently went to Freycinet. I'll have the vlog up here, and I loved it. I really wish I got there sooner because it's not terribly far from Hobart if you are looking for a weekend trip. Gorgeous. The mountains were so close. Like, the mountains, there's something about mountains with me. Like, I love Mount Wellington here, but it still feels like so distant, like the mountain here in Hobart. Like, yeah, it's gorgeous and it overlooks the scenery and everything, but it still feels more distant, whereas the Freycinet Mountains felt like so close, and gorgeous. Freycinet for sure. I still really want to get to Cradle, so if anyone has any tips, just like hasn't been my priority, but I still really want to get there. Bruny Island, I do think is really great. There's so many places around Hobart. A lot of the vineyards and stuff too, like some of my favorite vineyards are just north of Lonnie. Penguin colonies in the northeast. The lavender farm, the tulip farm, like all the pretty farms would probably be top of my Tassie list if I had to recommend. And I still really want to get to Maria. Not Maria Island, Maria Island. That's still on my list too. I hope to get there in the next couple months. So any Maria tips, please let me know. But on the mainland, I did really like Brisbane when I went. I haven't spent a lot of time in Melbourne, but I do want to spend more time there. And there's just so many places on the mainland that I want to go to. I think I chatted about in this video. So any tips, this will just be a collection of everyone's tips for not only myself, but for whoever is watching this video.
I love this question because I've genuinely never talked about this. I've never talked about it.
Oh my gosh, right, I think I know what this question is. I still don't talk about it. I think this is like literally the last time that I talked about it, or maybe I've like mentioned it briefly here and there in content. Okay, the suspense is killing me. What do I talk about?
You may think I've been avoiding this question like the plague, but genuinely just hasn't come up. How does the healthcare system compare? So, my experience with the US healthcare system.
This is such a like awkward topic to tread on because at least when I've like briefly chatted about it in the past, or like I think I might have done a short form video on it once on TikTok or something. In my experience, saying anything slightly negative about Australia, the comment section is just like, go home. We don't want you here. Calling me like mean names, go back home to America, making fun of America, like the list goes on. So like chatting about these topics is very interesting to say the least, because obviously I want to come off extremely grateful that I do get to live in Australia and I do love it here. But just like anywhere you live, you aren't going to love absolutely everything. And especially if you grew up in a completely different system, there's gonna be some bias with that. So I remember I was like, oh gosh, should I answer this question? How are people gonna react?
In the US, again, it's different for everyone, and I'm beyond grateful that in the US, I've been able to stay for the most part on my parents' insurance up until the age of 26, which is what, I don't know the percentage of people that do that in the US because I can't speak for anyone other than myself, but a lot of people I know in the US, my age, do that, which makes sense because it's a way to save a bit of money. But in my experience with the Australian healthcare system is, yes, when you do apply for a visa, you do have to get private healthcare here, which, again, I could be wrong, but I'm just speaking on experience of talking to Australian friends of mine. Some Australians that I know here in the Hobart area do have private health insurance, but some don't. But you need private health to apply for a visa to come here. I don't know all visas, but at least a student visas.
I'm gonna cut so much of this out because Ashleigh, there are so many disclaimers and not even 60 seconds of filming. Like, I would hope that people will understand that it's obviously just my experience. I can only speak from my own experience. Experience.
I guess part of me, since moving to Australia, has been annoyed with the Australian healthcare system in
I still am, but I bite my tongue on it most of the time.
the sense that you need referrals for everything, and as a result, you are paying for 2 doctor's appointments when you could have just been paying for 1. And based on chatting with some of my Australian friends, a lot of places, at least in the Hobart area, don't do bulk billing.
I don't think any still do. I haven't heard anything about anywhere that does bulk billing. It doesn't really affect me because I'm still on private health on my current visa, but even people on Medicare and like a lot of local places don't do bulk billing, and so then they do end up having to pay whatever copay or whatnot. So, and that's if they can get an appointment. If you have a different experience to share, please let me know down in the comments. But based on what friends have still said to me in the last like year or so since filming this, is yeah, it's still very much the same for them.
A bummer, because Australians, especially online, love to praise how amazing the healthcare system is here. And again, I'm not saying it's not at all. I'm just saying it disappoints me to see a lot of my Australian friends, at least in the Hobart area, have to go through hardships because a lot of places don't do bulk billing and the Medicare doesn't really cover as much as they thought.
I would say still very accurate. Parts of the system do disappoint me, but of course parts of the American system do disappoint me. So if I could have like bits of both, just create my own future world, sure.
Tips on transferring US money into an Australian account.
I still don't really have the biggest answer to this question because like it's different now because my salary and stuff goes into my Australian bank account, and I still do have bank accounts in the US, and I do like international wire transfers over. But other than that, I don't really know like someone who's full-blown picking up their life and moving to another country with like all of their life savings, the best way to go about it. So if you do have any tips, leave them for everyone down in the comments because I'm not super knowledgeable on that.
How are Americans or immigrants overall seen or treated by society?
I forgot that I did like a couple extra questions at the end of this video because I was like, what do you mean? I said 7 things. I went through the 7 things.
So that's an interesting question. And again, it's so different based on where you are located in Australia. I would say it's more so online that I see a lot of hate towards immigrants of any kind from any background.
I would still agree with that, but also I would say like there definitely is some targeted hate towards specific ethnicities and backgrounds for sure, especially here in Tasmania. One of my friends was actually injured on the streets because of their ethnicity recently, and it's really heartbreaking that that stuff happens so close to home. It's also very different because I am white, and so I can only speak on my own experience, and I understand that there is a privilege in that, so it's hard for me to really comment on it specifically, but there's definitely some hatred overall towards immigrants or just anyone who's not from Tasmania, even from people who are from the mainland. Sometimes I hear things and I'm like, can we just calm it down, please? Okay, maybe I counted wrong. Maybe that was 7 things and I'm just, my math is not mathing today. It's so interesting watching back this video because not to like hate on my past self, but Like, this video was good, but it definitely wasn't my best video. And so it's kind of annoying that, like, out of all of my content, that's what YouTube was like, here you go, push to everyone. But nonetheless, much appreciated. It was so sweet. I did get like a long, I did get an email from a subscriber with like questions, and I just really love talking about the process of moving internationally and the different things that come up with it, and any help I can be to people, like genuinely, like I love it. So please ask away. That was great. A little trip down memory lane. Awesome. Subscribe, please. I would love to get to 3K on this platform. That would be so cool. Give it a like, let's chat in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.